Hi, I'm Jennifer Reed from Relish at 3835 West 12th Street here in Erie. And I'm just here to show you some of the finds that we have found along Lake Erie because it's a treasure trove of history and mystery. We've got old bottles that have the raised Erie, PA, and that's a whole bottle, J. Kolb here. This is about the late 1800s. But then we have remnants that have been found, and you can see how it was embossed with Erie here, and just the remnants of Erie, PA here on this amber bottle. But not only is there wonderful remnants of bottles and sea glass and whatnot, there's also things like this prehistoric horse's tooth. Probably 200 million years old. It's a molar from a prehistoric horse, along with, this is called horn coral, as you can see why it got the name. It's 300 million years old, found largely near Buffalo on Lake Erie. But again, there's all kinds of wonderful things that you can go out. It's a free activity. These are more coral fossils, just remnants here. But again, things that relate to our area. The black glass, which is actually very dark purple, those are from the GE light bulb plant near Conneaut, Ashtabula, Ohio area. That is the insulator on the bottom of the light bulb. They're dark purple when you hold them up to the light. And we know when people bring them in, I go, oh, I know where you found these. You found these at Conneaut Beach. This piece here, again, it's called black glass. It could be as old as the 1700s. That's called a kick-up. That's the bottom of the bottle. Of course, when bottles were made back then, they were meant to be reused. It was a very expensive process. And they were very thick, like this bottom of a red bottle. Now, red is a very rare color, probably the most desired color of all sea glass. And Schlitz Beer made a Royal Ruby beer in 1951 in a red bottle. It was more expensive to produce the bottle, though, so they quit doing it in the red. But that's likely a bottom of a bottle. And then we've got other pieces that kind of tell you where they come from. The little orange cat, Czech toys were often in the Christmas crackers that you popped, and often they would have a little metal collar around them so that you could wear them as a necklace or on a bracelet or something. Very rare are these little playing die. You can just barely see the numbers on them. Pressed glass die, again, likely from a Christmas cracker. And then these are reflectors from signs, largely the railroad industry, directional signs. And the reds could have been, they were on bicycles for a while in the 20s and 30s. This as well, this piece here, very old. They put them in streets. I don't know if you've ever been in a big city, Chicago, New York, or whatever, and you're walking along and there's a grate and it's got little, in a nice pattern. Well, it was to let the light in down below, but that's very well could that be. That is a Victorian button. As you can see, we've found more buttons over here. And this piece is so fascinating. It's the Cupid doll. Was in 1909, Cupid doll came out, and this was from a 1920 dinner bell. Just left over. So how these things end up in the waterway, these are the bottle stoppers that they would, pour wax in and then put the bottle stopper in when corks weren't so readily available. Sea glasses, we kind of had a kick out of that one. And then if you don't recognize that, that is a telephone insulator along railroad tracks. And it's on the telephone poles. They would often, that's a wooden threaded piece to hold it on there, and then the telephone wires went on off of the poles. But they would break, they would blow off, car accidents knock them down, whatever, and they would end up in the waterways. And this is what's remaining of a piece. And you can see that it's nicely hydrated here. That frosting is called hydration. And to remind everybody that, everything was in glass at one point, way before plastics. An old hair tonic bottle here, single serving coffee cream. Just fascinating that they would, and then reuse them, of course. Again, a little whale. This was found not too long ago, right down, not on the peninsula, but not too far off of the peninsula. And then the porcelain pieces here, what's left of the frozen Charlottes, or bigger pieces. A little pair of shoes, little Mary Janes, and porcelain die. And then these pieces are the remnants of little clay pipes when you bought cans of tobacco. You got a free pipe in it, and as they broke, the sailors or whatever would throw them overboard. Another glass die and a little bear. But all these wonderful things to find, and in the days of the COVID, a nice free activity is going down to the beach and trying your luck out there. It's best after a storm. So if you're looking to go, you don't have to get wet, you don't have to go in the water, but walking back and forth along the shoreline, better to go to public access, maybe boat launches, that kind of thing, and watch where the water is coming from and the waves bringing it in. You can maybe scrape the surface of the sand, but you certainly don't have to dig for any of these treasures. And when you turn around at the other end of the beach and walk back, you may even find more depending on when the waves are coming in and how frequently. But the marbles too, again, collectors especially find them particularly thrilling of a find. These marbles here, I've got two of them. These are called railroad marbles. They weren't meant to be played with. They were laid along a warehouse floor amidst two pieces of maybe wood for track, and they would put crates of whatever heavy materials that they were moving along these tracks and push these big crates around, and that was their way of getting them around. And then of course people say, how do you find marbles and why are they in the water? Well, it's not that they were a beach toy, but if you think about it, they're round and they end up down sewer grates, kids playing on the street, down sewer grates into streams and rivers, and all roads lead down to the water level, to the lakes and the oceans. So that's why we find so many. But the history and the mystery, like I said, is what keeps people coming back, finding more things. This is a bunch of beads that we have found already drilled, more buttons, whatever this was. It looks like a threaded piece, some sort of machinery, industrial, I'm not quite sure. And then what we've done is, made some pieces of jewelry in it. This is the top of an old inkwell. Very fascinating. This piece here, it's a knob to a candy dish. It's dated pre-1913. When you put a black light on it, it was made with 2% uranium dioxide to get it that color, and it glows. And then World War II started, and then the government wanted all the uranium for the war effort, so they stopped making that recipe for that color. And another dated piece is this purple piece here. That's pre-1913. It was never meant to be purple, but they put manganese in it to keep clear glass from going this color. This was never meant to be this color, but the impurities in the batch sand that they used, they wanted these bottles cleared so you can see what was really inside, especially if it was food or a canning jar. What they didn't realize was that the manganese was gonna oxidize in the sunlight, so you know that these are old historic pieces as well. Harder even to find than the red is orange and true yellow. This looks like it was a candy dish perhaps, or maybe a lamp. And we really don't know the exact origin of things like that. This was recently found on Lake Erie. I've got several customers that bring in their finds and want me to make pieces and parts for them out of their collection, which makes it all the more special when it's something that you have found.